Wendell Jones, and welcome to this webinar. This is sponsored by the Embassy of the Bahamas in the United States of America, where we have conversations with members of the Bahamian diaspora. In the current international context, sports are becoming more commercialized, and sports organizations have become more competent over the years. In the United States, there is a growing number of Bahamians who are playing a significant role in the human resource development challenges of this country and others. While they were born in the Bahamas, there are many Bahamian coaches who are part of the Bahamian diaspora in the United States and are involved in training of international athletes, including Bahamians. Sporting events play a significant role in developing tourism and economic activities on the national and international scale. And this is why we have invited some outstanding Bahamian sports administrators and coaches to participate in this series of conversations that we in the Embassy of the Bahamas in Washington, D.C. are having with the Bahamian diaspora. Today, we welcome to the conversation Idric Poitier, who is currently head coach of the women's volleyball of Bory State University. We also have Jeremy Knowles, who is a fourth grade teacher at Alabama, former swimmer and Olympian. Avad Moncur, he is involved in the academic program as coordinator at Georgia Institute of Technology. Norbert Elliott is head coach, track and field and cross-country programs at Purdue University. Anton Richardson, professional baseball first base coach for the San Francisco Giants in the major leagues. He is a former MLB outfielder. He played for the Atlanta Braves in 2011 and the New York Yankees in 2014. Welcome to Mr. Richardson. And we have Mikhail McLean, who is assistant basketball coach at Lamar University, previously with the University of Houston Cougars. Gentlemen, welcome to our program, and we are delighted that you've all found time to be with us. And I said some things about yourselves, and so I'd like for you to take this opportunity to tell us what you've been doing in the United States of America beyond what I have said, and how you got involved in the various programs that you are in. Let's begin with Mr. Poitier.
All right, thank you for having me, Mr. Jones, and it's a pleasure to be here. Well, I actually started back in 1999 when I was in college at St. Augustine's University in North Carolina. I actually was a student and coach of the volleyball team at the same time. But after completing my studies, I returned to the Bahamas, where I continued my career as a police officer. I spent 30 years as a police officer in the Bahamas. And upon retirement in 2010, I returned to the United States to complete my college coaching career. So I've been to a number of schools, and in the past 12 years, what I have been doing is spending about 3 years at each of these schools trying to rebuild their program. And so now I'm here at Bowie State. They've never won a conference championship. And I think they pursued me because that is one of the goals of the new athletic director. And he's saying he wants someone who has some sort of experience in rebuilding programs and trying to make them viable within the conference. And so that's why I am now. I've spent the last year at a high school in Jacksonville. took them to the district championship. We lost. I hated to leave that team this year because I think they can win a state championship. I didn't lose any players from that team, but this opportunity was one that I just felt was a better opportunity for me.
Very good. Jeremy Knowles.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Honor to be on this panel with everybody. I think one thing that I probably should mention from my bio, I think a lot of people may probably know me better by the guy who swam back from Exuma to Nassau a long time ago. My current shoulders ache just thinking about swimming that distance now, but that was part of in my swimming career. That was I think a catalyst that kind of at the time made me a bit more of a household name, especially now with that distance being such a frequently known distance, I guess, as far as covering that amount of water. But I went into elementary education at Auburn University my freshman year, so knew that was kind of the career path that I would like to take. And I jumped right into my teaching career after I retired from swimming and after the Beijing Olympics. In fact, I had secured my first teaching job before that Olympics and had to fly home after the Olympics a week and a half into the school year and start teaching the day after I got back to the States. So it was from one thing right into the next for me, and I'm about to go into my 14th year of teaching. Teach fourth grade class at Oscar Adams Elementary here in Gadsden, Alabama. Gadsden is about 2 hours west of Atlanta, and our family has lived here for a year. We actually moved back to the Bahamas to live in Freeport in 2017, lived there for 3 years. And unfortunately, Hurricane Dorian, as a lot of people know, devastated both Abaco and Freeport, and was kind of a catalyst in a number of things that added up to us feeling the need to move back to the U.S. to be closer to my wife's family. And that's why we moved back here. And it's been a great fit for our family. Surprisingly, a lot of similarities to a small country town and island living, which we really like. And actually, this is my last day of summer break, about to start teacher work days tomorrow. And so going back into the workforce for fourth grade starting tomorrow.
Very good. Mr. Elliott, Norbert Elliott.
Sir, Ambassador Jones, thank you very much. I'd like to also thank Sonia Bastien, Rose, for inviting me. When I received the invite, I was excited. I graduated, first let me say this, I'm a St. Augustine's College sacker. for those that like to hate St. Augustine's College. I graduated from high school in 1980 and entered college in 1981, January of 1981. And for all intent and purpose, never really went back home. It was my wish to graduate and to go back home and to work to become a civil servant. But I began training for the Olympic Games, and I realized that the facilities just weren't adequate enough for me to go back home to train. So I began figuring out ways in which I could remain legal in the US. And one was to work on a master's degree. So I did that. And after receiving my master's degree in education, I went on to become an assistant track and field coach at my alma mater, University of Texas, El Paso. And I was still wishing to return home, but I just found that my calling, my true love was in coaching. I began getting a master's degree in political science, but I soon switched because I realized that I just enjoyed working with student athletes, and the fulfillment I got and the joy and the excitement that they received from me coaching them sort of soon forced me to switch to getting an education degree with a concentration in exercise science. And as they say, the rest is history. So I coached in El Paso, Texas for 3 years. I went on to coach at University of Georgia for 10 years. during that time, I was fortunate enough to coach two of our more famous Bahamian athletes. I was able to recruit Debbie Ferguson, our Olympic golden girl. I was also fortunate enough to recruit and coach for 2 years Tonique Williams-Darling. She subsequently transferred to South Carolina, but those are two really good feathers in my cap to have worked with one of our own, Debbie and Tonique Williams. By the way, I recruited Avard Moncoeur too, but Avard decided to go to Auburn University. Avard, I don't hold that against you. I thought I could get you to come to Georgia, but that's okay. You've done well for yourself. Congratulations. So I coached at University of Georgia for 10 years, and then I moved on to become head coach at Murray State University. Had a lot of success there as well. Spent 4 years there, like I said. Then I moved on to University of Tennessee, and I coached there for a total of 7 years. Had a lot of success there. One of the athletes that I coached, a gentleman by the name of Aries Merritt, Olympic gold medalist and current world record holder in the hurdles. And now I'm in my 10th year at Purdue University. I got here because of another Bahamian, Rolando Green, who was hired as head coach, and he's now coaching at Kentucky, University of Kentucky. But in my time, I'm proud to say that I was able to recruit many Bahamian athletes to get a college education, and many of whom have returned home to contribute to our lovely and thriving economy. So I look back at my career, and I'm just happy, and I'm thrilled, and I'm honored to be able to have contributed so much to to not only the Bahamians, but also to the American-based athletes.
Very good. You have a lot to tell, eh? And
Yes.
Vad perhaps can expand on some of what you had to say. And so we're going to get to Vad in a minute. Let's hear from Antoine Richardson.
Thank you, Ambassador Jones, for having me on this panel today with all these bright men that have done so much great work in sports. I think you captured it all, man. I played baseball professionally for 11 years, and shortly after retirement, started a nonprofit in the Bahamas, based around youth development. And I didn't stay away too long from the game. I got a few calls from a couple of different teams asking to come back into the industry, and got my first off the field job with the Toronto Blue Jays in 2018, which was working with their front office and scouting departments for about a year. And then after that, got an opportunity to get back on the field with the San Francisco Giants and looking over some of their development in their minor league levels. And then a year after that, was invited to join the major league staff with the San Francisco Giants here in San Francisco. And one of the biggest things that I've been kind of working on or toward is just creating avenues for Bahamians to get into this pipeline of baseball in terms of coaching. We have done a really good job over the past few years of getting Bahamians into baseball in terms of becoming professional athletes. And I think there are so many opportunities outside of just playing the game that exist for young athletes who didn't get to the final table, so to speak. And just making sure that we create those avenues for Bahamians to have more opportunities to impact in the sport beyond just playing is something that really I'm kind of digging into this baseball industry. But my first love was track and field. I see we have a lot of track people on the call. Did run for the Bahamas, for Carifta back in, I can't remember the year, but a while back. And I still have track and field coaches back home that are a little upset at me that I went the baseball route, but still have a lot of love for track and field. So that's a little bit more about myself, Ambassador Jones. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mikhail McLean.
Yes, sir, I'm here. The Ambassador, I just want to thank you as well. Really appreciate you guys. And this is Ms. Sonia Rose. I appreciate you. I'm sorry I was so much of a hassle to get in contact with, but I'm really just honored to be here with you guys. I grew up watching Avard run, watching a lot of you guys. I've definitely heard the story, Mr. Knowles, about you swimming from my parents. So I'm just honored to kind of be here in you guys' presence and, just talk about some important things for you guys. I think you touched on everything. Just a little bit about myself as well. I actually grew up running track and field in the Bahamas as well, played a lot of soccer. I had a big growth spurt from 5'4" to 6'4", so everybody was like, all right, you gotta start playing a little basketball. So once I started playing basketball, I was fortunate enough to join the Rutherford Foundation in Houston, Texas with Frank Rutherford. I spent 5 years in that program. I was able to get a scholarship to the University of Houston. And then from there, it just organically happened. I graduated. I broke my foot 3 times my senior year, so I didn't get a chance to play professionally. So I was studying my master's at the time. I had another year left. So my head coach, Coach Kelvin Sampson, that's now at the University of Houston, said I can come back and become a graduate assistant. And then just from there, I just kind of fell in love with coaching. So coaching is my passion. I've been able to travel the world playing and coaching basketball, but just the experiences to just kind of see how you could change these student athletes' lives it's been my why. And then just it's my second year coaching with the national team and just getting that chance to connect with Bahamian student athletes. I've been recruiting a few. I haven't been able to get the right one yet, or I haven't found the right one yet, but I've actively been recruiting the Bahamas as well. But just kind of coaching with the national team. I was down there for about a week in June and July. And I go back this month to coach. We play against Venezuela and Argentina. So I'm just really excited just to get back to the Bahamas.
Very good. Glad to hear that. Mr. Vadman Kerr.
Thank you, Ambassador Jones, for having me. I'm looking at the B in Norbert's name. I wonder if that stands for Benjamin Button. He sounds like he's been coaching for many, many years. He recruited me as a 16-year-old to attend University of Georgia, and that seems like a world ago because I'm now in my 40s. I started at Auburn University, ended up going there. Henry Roll, another Bahamian, actually ended up then recruited me there, but also was recruited by Norbert Elliott. I think Auburn was just a really good fit for me. Finally got my degree and had a short stint I guess that was kind of a long stint of professional career, and decided to retire in 2012. I started working as a cross-country and track and field coach at the Savannah College of Art and Design. I felt like that probably was the next natural step for me. But coaching is really a labor of love, and it is extremely time consuming. I don't think coaches really get the credit that they deserve for the amount of hours that kind of goes into really developing these young people into what they actually can be. I knew that wasn't something that I wanted to do. So I actually moved into the administrative portion of education and moved into admissions department, where I actually was able to connect with quite a few Bahamians that are actually pursuing art. And I thought that was actually really another way to contribute to their development. I would have loved to have someone in the administrative part of a university that I went to. I had it on the coaching side, but just having that resource for new Bahamians that are coming into those programs, I felt like that would have been very valuable for me. Eventually, I moved over to Georgia Tech, where I started working with the computer science department as a program coordinator. And now I currently work in the biomedical engineering department as a program coordinator, moving into a program manager within the next year. And actually come into contact with quite a few Bahamians who are pursuing medicine and also pursuing computer science degrees. So I look to contribute to the Bahamian economy in a different way, not directly through sports, but I've had a pretty rewarding career thanks to people like Norbert Elliott and Henry Roll and a few other people. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you all. You are speaking from various states in the United States, joining us in this conversation. This is the fourth in a series that we have been doing. And it is just wonderful to hear from Bahamians who are doing well in the United States. And today we are focusing on you people who are sports administrators and coaches. And I'm sure that a whole lot of Bahamians around the world are happy to hear from you and to know more about you and the contributions that you're all making in the United States of America. I have had conversations with colleague ambassadors here in the United States, and they point to the Bahamas as a sports power because of the number of medals that we have won in international competitions. And today we can talk about the number of Bahamians who are playing leadership roles in various sporting endeavors in the United States. Tell me, Mr. Elliott, how do you feel about the Bahamas and how we are performing internationally? I want to hear from you, your perspectives, gentlemen.
Yeah, Ambassador Jones, you're exactly right. This is a known fact now that the Bahamas is indeed a sporting nation. I want to also point out the fact that many of our student athletes have come over here, they've gotten an education, and they've returned. So many of them have continued on in their own professional endeavors in whatever sport that they got a scholarship in. But many of them have taken advantage of the opportunity of getting an education and to return home. I mean, it goes all the way back from many of our B3A's presidents, Bernard Nottage, many of our political and government leaders have been athletes, the likes of Tommy Robinson. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So this isn't something that's new. This is something that's historical. And I'm fortunate and I'm proud to be able to continue that line of having successful athletes that have contributed and that are continuing to contribute. So I'm proud of my role here being in the United States. I'm sure as you are too, doing what you do and continuing to contribute. And so I'm a born Bahamian, as they say, if you're born there, you're born there, and that's me to the hilt. And I'll continue to represent the Bahamas. I continue to sing the praise of the Bahamas. And so, yes, we are indeed a sporting nation, and the world knows it. Us hosting the World Relays for several years has put us on the world map, and we're just going to continue to get better and better and better.
Let everybody participate in this. And gentlemen, I want you to tell me whether or not as a nation in sports and sports development, whether we are, as they say, punching above our weight. Anyone, Mr. Richardson?
First of all, yeah, just really proud of what we've done as a country. And are we punching above our weight?
Mr.
I don't
Elliott,
know, man.
go and David. Just kind of setting the standard, and it wasn't just a one-off thing. You look at every Olympic Games, especially in track and field, the Bahamas has been represented on the medal podium over and over, and I think that's so great to see that we haven't only just had little snippets of success, but it's been growing and building off of each other. Mr. Richardson, you mentioned earlier just about your nonprofit and going from the success that you've had and then trying to create that stepping stone for others to do the same. And I think we see that now, if we look back over 20 years now, the Bahamas internationally just performing really, really well. And that's we're starting to see that even beyond track and field. We can look at baseball and basketball in major leagues now, and it's been really great. So just my 2 cents as a swimmer, and I think swimming is moving up and getting there. But just to look, I feel like every 4 years when it comes around to the Olympics, I'm always kind of bragging about our per capita status and how small of a nation we are and how many medals we get at the Olympics. And it's just a really proud time at the Olympic avenues when we can talk about how successful we are for such a small nation.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Richardson, I think you wanted to add something there.
No, I was just going to add that I think that obviously we're doing really well, but when I think about it, I think back to the to athletes in the past that have created this, right? So you think of Dama Bertha Isaacs, Dorit Knowles, Tommy Robinson, and so you think about and you think about all these athletes that created this path to allow us to have this platform that we currently have. And I think that we continue to fight to create more access and avenues for more Bahamians to do the same. And so I think we have done a really, really good job. But I walk around the island some days or the country some days, and I see so many talented athletes that are just looking for an avenue or resource to be able to showcase that talent on the world. And so, yes, we have been punching above our weight, as you mentioned, but I think there's room to grow and punch a little higher than we are currently punching.
Okay.
I'll backdoor. I'll talk on that as well. Just, representing the Bahamas national team, to see, guys like Buddy Hield, that's the true ambassador for the Bahamas. DeAndre Ayton to be the highest paid athlete to ever come out of the Bahamas with that mega contract he just got. Kai Jones is representing the Charlotte Hornets. All of those guys, like for them to represent the Bahamas. So even Klay Thompson, even though he wasn't born here, he won his NBA championship and he had his flag as proudly as someone that was born and raised here. Just to see those guys represent the Bahamas with class, and then Jazz is playing baseball professionally. Like, I feel as though track and field has been pulling the weight for a very, very, very long time. I think swimming was always very competitive, but I feel as though the other sports are finally starting to catch up. And now it's not just, okay, Bahamas, the country that's full of track and field athletes. Like, it's Bahamas, the country that's full of athletes, period. And without the resources that we've had, where, players like myself, everyone that have to travel to the States to become successful, I feel as though whenever we do finally have the money to put in more to get some of those resources back home, a lot of those kids that are underdeveloped, that are unseen, are going to start being able to, I feel as though we have so much more that we can give, but it's just a process to get to it as well. So just want to speak on that.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about development of, but Mr. McGill, go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, good. I just think the key thing is really just having examples. In terms of development, I think the Bahamas is moving in a really positive direction. When I look at the National Track and Field Stadium, oh my God, I would have loved to be able to run in a stadium like that when I was younger. What an amazing gift that was given to our country. But I think in all the various sports, as some of the other guys have said, you just have examples, and Bahamian young persons can see what actually is open to them. But it also is good to kind of have people in place like a Norbert Elliott and a Henry Roll and all this, because like for me, I know that it was life-changing to actually have access to those resources. I don't know how I would have gotten it otherwise. So when you have people like that that are pulling students who have potential into a pool where they have everything that they need, it really could be life-changing. But no, I think the government continues to pay attention to, trying to develop that in terms of the facilities that they provide. I think there's probably, people always say there's more that can be done, but I think we're moving in a positive direction in terms of how they're approaching it.
We're talking about the development of our human resources, and I guess Bahamians who have excelled in sports have done so because they are been disciplined to put out their best, to do their best, and to work hard. Let's talk about the level of discipline or indiscipline in the Bahamian society and the extent to which we are able to do better. I know that many Bahamians are proud of what we have accomplished, but as someone said, that there is room for improvement. And so today we want to inspire other young Bahamians to achieve. Can we hear from Mr. Poitier?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I believe that sports provide the avenue for enforcing discipline. And I think one of the things that it's hindering our society in terms of discipline is the fact that there's not enough junior development in sports in the Bahamas. I mean, there's baseball, Freedom Farm, and those JBL and those have their programs going, and it's doing a tremendous service for young men in the country. But I believe if we were to get back to the days when we had junior league basketball, junior league volleyball. We had all of these things in the past. It would give the young people an avenue to get off the street and find something to do. And I think at some point, we're going to have to go back to getting the individuals who are responsible for youth development in the country to understand that sports is the perfect avenue for discipline for kids, and just get them involved in sports. And I believe we will see a tremendous turnaround in the lack of discipline that we have in our society right now.
Mhm.